Let's just go into the other bit of Trump news, and that is the assassination of Iran's, top military figure, Qasem Soleimani.
Yeah.
Yeah. This one took me kind of by surprise. I think anyone on Twitter or whatever saying, decrying the actions, of the president's like.
Not just Twitter.
The first question you should be posing to them is, who is Qasem Soleimani? Just ask them that.
Oh, if you ask the mainstream media and Twitter, he was a poet. They'd show.
Yeah, he was a warrior poet. Kind of a la the al-Baghdadi coverage of it. It was like austere Muslim scholar. It's kind of like the Baghdadi coverage where it's like esteemed Muslim scholar, warrior poet, loved by his people. It's like,
look how sad they are that he's dead.
Like, but you don't see the people with guns trained on them to look sad.
Just like all the sad people when Kim Jong-il died.
Right? Yeah, jeez. I know. Are they that they really think that we're that stupid.
They do.
That's the hilarious thing. They think that we're that stupid.
Remember, there are betters, Andy.
Yes, there are betters. Of course, there are betters, so they know better than us. But yeah, anyone who's got their panties in a twist about this, first the first way to shut them up is just ask them, who was Qasem Soleimani? That's all you have to do. It's like, and there's like, he was a guy that they killed. It's like, yeah, but who was he? And I'll admit this myself. I had no idea who this guy was either.
Yeah.
Before this happened, I had to do some Googling. I had to do some research. Cenk, you go Google it. Yeah, I had to do a little research. He was basically, one of the things I learned was he was basically like their version of chairman of the Joint Chiefs and CIA director.
He was a lot of...
He wore a lot of hats.
Where we have like 6 or 7 people in different positions, he was like all of that in one man.
So right. He wore a lot of hats. Yeah, wasn't he also didn't he run Hezbollah?
Oh yeah. Well, here's the thing is he was doing a lot of the proxy wars. Like he was the one that was behind a lot of the proxy wars throughout the Middle East and trying to gain power in Iran, power for Iran through terrorism, all sorts of stuff like that. And then he was a lot of people saw him as probably being the next Ayatollah of Iran, and so it hurts them, which, for me, I'm like, all right, fine, because fuck Iran. That's like, when you have people, other, terrible Middle Eastern countries, like you have Saudi Arabia, which is terrible, when they're like, yeah, these guys are bad characters, like, when bad characters are saying, like, yeah, these guys, we're fucked up, but these guys are, oh, boy, it's, so it's, you have that, but yeah, just I could not believe just the love and the outpouring for Iran that all these pundits on in the news are talking. It's like, what
sometimes not even pundits, just like blue check marks on Twitter. It's like, famously or not famously, but Colin Kaepernick had to weigh in, of course. Saying how America is like the biggest terrorist organization for black and brown people. It's like, get up, get the fuck out, go punt a football or something.
Well, the reason he can't do that anymore. So.
True, I know. Yes, yeah. So go. It's like yeah. You want to do some good? Go to the sweatshops in China to help make your fucking shoes.
Yeah, God.
You want to help out? Yeah, that's how you can help out, Colin. Go to China, take a ship in the workshop to help make your fucking shoes.
Well, actually, here's something though that I did, with that I did kind of want to bring up with you, kind of concerning this whole thing, because obviously there was all the World War III memes that were coming off after this and stuff like that, and obviously we've been over in the Middle East for, to me, way too fucking long. Obviously, after we've been there since a couple years after 9/11. We've been there since what, 03? We've been in the Middle East for.
I mean, technically earlier, because of the whole.
Well, and if you go back to the Gulf War, I mean, then you could from the early 90s. I mean,
even in the 80s, because we were helping the Al Qaeda and the Taliban with their fight against the Soviets.
Yeah, and so.
So are you talking about more like overt kind of a presence?
Right now, it's like I'm only going back to 03. Obviously, we've been there.
Since 9/11.
Yeah, I'm going that far, but it technically, yeah, you're right. It has been longer than that. It's like, Jesus Christ, like why are we there?
Right. I mean,
for one reason.
Yeah. Technically, we took over for the British, but
right.
Because like with the British, like long history of like colonization and empire building and things like that. But that's let's save that for a different stream. But let's stay on topic.
But no, I am kind of curious of your thoughts of, are you kind of like one of those people? It's like where, as far as like us, being over in these foreign conflicts, like, sure, if we're there to like help an ally for a short time or to provide, well, to me, I don't want to provide funds and stuff, like, because there's people that argue that we're fighting wars for Israel, or that we're doing all this stuff for other countries, not for us. Like that they're the reason that a lot of the reason that we're over there, still like over there. I mean, we had reasons to be there initially after what happened in 9/11, but really, like, we kind of took down some of those powers fairly quickly, instead of just saying, oh, well, we're getting the fuck out of here, we're done. We kind of had this broad war on terror, and it's, what have we accomplished exactly? To me, I don't think we've accomplished anything, and it's kind of a worse version of Vietnam in a lot of ways. And do you think that we should just kind of like tell these countries to kind of, in a way, go fuck themselves and like stop leave having our troops there, all that stuff, and just kind of focus on what's going on in the United States and fixing what are our issues here? Where, I don't know where you kind of stand in that.
Well, I think ultimately, yes, we should get the fuck out of there with all haste. Because we really have no business being there. Because we can't afford to devote our devote resources and personnel to a conflict that is in a lot of ways illegal. But I understand the thinking of some people say, oh well, this is our mess, so we have to help clean it up. It's like, but yeah, at a certain point, it has to be cleaned up, or it has to be to the point. We have to get to the point where it's just like, all right, we've done a lot of the cleaning up, and it's time for us to get mosey along.
Right. It's because I'm not going to like saying like, oh, we're just fighting these wars for the Jews and all this, because there are some people that do believe that.
Right.
I wouldn't go.
I mean, yeah, and under certain circumstances, and after a few drinks, I might come on board with that point of view. But
I would never. I don't go that far, because I think that's a little ridiculous. But I've kind of noticed how there's a lot of people who who talk, the way that they talk about us being over there. It's like, we have to help our one, good ally over in the Middle East, which is, it's Israel. But Israel can they've been defending themselves for quite a long time. Even going back into the, you look at the war from like their war in '67 to kind of keep their independence and all that stuff. I mean, they can take care of themselves.
Right. I mean, because they're an ally, and they're a member of. I believe they're a member of NATO.
Yeah, and
And so so like a lot of the equipment that we have, that we enjoy, or like our military benefits from, Israel also has access to, and we've done a lot of, we've given them a lot of aid, especially in terms of border security.
Yeah.
So I think they're in a relatively good position, and so for us to be like, kind of playing, kind of being like the big brother to Israel, making sure none of the neighborhood bullies, picks on them is kind of a bullshit reason.
Here's where here's how I think of it too. Is like, listen, if a country is going to try to do something to American troops or American forces, and they're trying to cause us a reaction out of us, then sure, it's like, you strike hard, you strike them, you strike fast, you strike hard, you get the fuck out of there. Which is kind of like what the whole Soleimani thing was. That he was responsible for killing quite a few American soldiers, and I did kind of like the idea where Iran, because we put a lot of sanctions on Iran after the god awful Iran deal that once again Obama put into place. Just gave them billions of dollars of our money to Iran because it's the moderates, they'll take over. And it's like, no. And they shot down one of our drones. They've been lashing out at I think like refineries and stuff like around that region. We didn't respond. It's like, and even like, because I think Trump had initially they were ready to attack Iran. It's like, wait a second, what? And he kind of had he second guessed himself. Like, wait, what are we doing? It's a drone. It's a robot. It doesn't matter. And so he called off. He called it off. It's like, I'm not gonna strike for no Americans were killed. What does it matter? It's like, sure, it's like the drone costs several $1 million, but whatever. That's like 10 cents, in our in that. But it's like when they actually because they had the attack of our embassy. I think it was in Iran or was it in Iraq. I don't remember where the embassy was, but
it wasn't Iraq. But but to that point, then I don't think any U.S. personnel were injured.
I heard somebody was killed though.
At the embassy?
I don't know if it was the embassy, but there were Americans killed in something that Iran did over there.
Well, I know about the American contractor.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. And I think that's where it's like, okay, well, and that's when they had intelligence that Soleimani that he was in Iraq. And it's like, well,
even though he wasn't supposed to be there.
Even though he wasn't supposed to be there. And it's like, well, we have him. We have, do we take him out? Do it. Boom. And it hurts Iran. And after all the stuff that they've been kind of lashing out like a tantrum child because we're not, we have, we have sanctions on them. We're not giving them money. We're not giving them aid or whatever. And so, they're lashing out in the region, trying to stir up dissension among our allies and all this stuff like that. And that I'm fine with. But like, yeah, it's like we just need to get out of there, dude. I'm so tired of us spending all this money over there, losing American troops over there. I've been over there that are have came back where they're fucked up with like injuries or the fuck head, and it's got to end, man.
Agreed.
And
Yeah.
I think Trump is trying his best to get guys out of there. Obviously, we had him take guys out of Syria. Uh, there has been some movement in that direction, but it's a mess that's been going on for several presidencies now, and it's like it's gonna take time. But man, I hope that we can kind of slowly start getting out of there and really kind of focus on stuff in our nation, because our nation is kind of it's fucked up, man.